What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Stacey Cole Morgan, and you are listening to the MorganMan Sports Podcast here on Spotify, Google Podcasts, GoodPod HQ, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Here on today's episode, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the New York Subliners Major 4 Week 3 qualifier matches for the Atlanta FaZe. 2 are in store for the FaZe clan as they look to secure at least a 300 CDL point victory over all the other teams and look as dominant as they can going into the Major 4 tournament and COD champs. Also on today's show, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the Atlanta FaZe's controversial logo and the lawsuit behind it. So without any further delay, let's go get straight into today's action. Alright guys, so the Atlanta FaZe will kick off Week 3 qualifiers for the Major 4 tournament at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Friday against the London Royal Ravens. Going up against the Ravens, they're definitely a top 6 team, no doubtably. And for FaZe, they're obviously the number 1 team right now in the CDL point standings. So FaZe has really got to capitalize their next 2 matches and say, look, we are the dominant team. You're not going to beat us. And I think FaZe really needs to win the Major 4 tournament to really capitalize going into COD champs of saying, all right, we finally won a major, bring us Optic. But then there again, Optic has had our number and they look like damn titans compared to us whenever FaZe and Optic does play off against one another. So besides that point, the London Royal Ravens, a top 6 team, definitely is going to bring the heat to the Atlanta FaZe. And you know that if they secure a win over FaZe, that boosts their momentum right there instantly. And going into the Major 4 tournament, they're going to say, okay, we just beat FaZe, so if we could beat them again, hell, we might win the Major 4 tournament altogether. Looking throughout the series right here, FaZe has definitely had the Ravens number, and I feel like that's going to be the same situation this Friday at 3 p.m. FaZe, I believe, has come a long ways. This is like their Cold War season where they started at rock bottom pretty much, not winning much of really any sort of matches. And then towards the end, they start getting to, championship form, start winning these series like just dominant fashion. I'm not going to say it's a dominant fashion against the Royal Ravens this Friday, but I think it's going to still be a strong showcase to say, okay, we just showed you a little peek of what champs is going to look like. Me personally, I'm still going to take FaZe in a 3-2 victory. Ravens are going to have some victories over the FaZe clan right here, but still FaZe is going to prevail in the S&D. Now moving on over to Saturday, July 9th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the bounty match for a $10,000 reward if you get the scores right. And that will be against the Seattle Surge taking on the Atlanta FaZe. Guys, this is where FaZe really needs to shine. They need to win against the Seattle Surge. You cannot go, if I'm not mistaken, 1-6 against Seattle Surge, where that one victory was again against them at the Major 2 losers bracket, if I'm not mistaken. The Major 2 loser bracket, and then of course, this past major, which was Major 3, where, Seattle Surge won that against the Atlanta FaZe. You cannot go 1-6 against the Surge. You have to win this series right here. And you're going to have to win every single series beyond that if you're going to be COD champs. Do I think Seattle Surge is going to be COD champs this year? No, I don't think so. I think it's still going to be FaZe or Optic. But Optic is really going to have to step their game up too, just like FaZe. But for this series in particular, this Saturday, for that bounty match, I'm looking at FaZe to just dominate in that hard point. They need to start being aggressive, start pushing on that point, and make Seattle uncomfortable. Go back to how you were in Cold War, where you were just flying across the map. To me, from what I've experienced, Seattle Surge cannot, what's the word I'm looking for, comprehend a fast-moving game style. And that's what the Atlanta FaZe used to do, but now they've kind of like slowed their tone down a little bit, and everybody knows it. And Seattle Surge has definitely took advantage of that. No, you need to be aggressive. Start getting on that hard point, even if it's just one person and the cavalry is coming. Get on that hard point. You might score 10 points and then die, but your cavalry is there and they're going to score probably the rest of the hard point time, or at least half of that. And that's what I'm looking for FaZe to do against the Seattle Surge. They need to be aggressive, fast pace. With the Royal Ravens, you can kind of hold back a little bit, but with the Seattle Surge, you need to be aggressive and fast pace in order to win against these guys, because if you do not, you're going to fall 1-6 to the Seattle Surge and only earn 290 CDL points. So me personally, I am going to take FaZe in a 3-2 victory over the Seattle Surge. I think FaZe is going to figure out what they've been doing wrong against the Seattle Surge, because all last year, FaZe dominated Surge, except for one or two series. But other than that, FaZe dominated them, and I think this is going to turn around to be in favor of FaZe yet again. But for a 3-2 victory, I would call you crazy if you say 3-0 or 3-1, but 3-2 victory for the Atlanta FaZe does sound right going into this weekend. And that would earn the Atlanta FaZe 300 CDL points altogether. They'll be at number 1, which they've already clinched the number 1 seed for COD Champs, but there will not be a bye. It will all be winner's record, round 1. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so now we are going to shift our focus to the controversial logo design for the Atlanta FaZe. They're not the only ones that are looking to get paid. So the Call of Duty League side, Atlanta FaZe, has been accused of stealing their logo from a clothing brand called Alpha Forward, which launched 2 years before the CDL was even announced. Atlanta FaZe is arguably the greatest franchise in CDL shorts history so far, with a world championship and several victories to their name. It's also substantially part of the FaZe Clan, which is the biggest esports organizations in the world, with millions of fans and investors that include sports stars and mainstream celebrities. As such, you would expect them to make sure their branding is always on point, and not to mention actually their own, but that appears not to be the case. And this article is coming from Dexero.com. Link will be in the bio for you guys to check the entire article out. So basically, the plot twist that I would have never expected. This is coming from @joke_n_e. Jokney on Twitter on June 29th, 2022. And then Evan Childs @EvanChilds11 replied for that with, everything about the whole branding situation for this Alpha clothing brand. And I mean, guys, I tell you, if the little blocks on top of the AF was not there, the Atlanta FaZe could really face a huge lawsuit and potentially lose this right here. But with the blocks on top, that is really going to be the only thing that's going to save the Atlanta FaZe right here from having to rebrand, not rebrand, but recreate their logo in some sort of fashion. So it's going to be a very hard lawsuit right here for FaZe to win. But if they win it and own the rights to this, that's going to be crazy. But I believe for the Alpha clothing brand, I cannot talk today. I think this is possibly going to be in their favor to win this civil case right here, and just, say, hey, look, we want X amount of dollars and y'all have to change y'all's logo, in which honestly I think will be happening because of this lawsuit going on. And you will see a totally new clothing brand, logo, everything for the Atlanta FaZe through the CDL shop. So again, the article is Dexero.com. Jacob Hale reported on this 6 days ago at the time of this recording on July 6th. Anyways, guys, but that is all the time I have for today's episode. I sure hope you did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to like button and follow me on Spotify or your preferred streaming platform. Subscribe on YouTube. It's absolutely free. And make sure you hit the bell notification to get all the latest updates on the videos that are coming out. And also, ladies and gentlemen, please give me a 5-star rating on Spotify and Good Pod HQ. It definitely helps out with the podcast of creating more content each and every single day. All right, cool, Morgan. Catch you all later. Peace.